Okay, in the other programming languages, the shell programming is again having the three kinds of loop. For each and every language, we need that looping concept. So in shell programming, also that concept is there. So I think I'll not go in detail about the working about the for, while, and until because that the working you know very well. I just tell you some of the syntax and then example so that you will understand it. Because the working is same in all programming languages. So if you consider that while loop, in that while loop again first statement is increment, then condition, then block of statement, and then uh, sorry, uh, initialization, then condition, block of statement, increment. So that is the syntax of that while. And in for that the working is same, that syntax is somewhat different, right? But the concept of that looping is we need to execute that the block of statement or a single statement number of times till that condition becomes false. Right? So that is the concept of the loop. Only I'll just tell you the syntax for while, for, and until loop. Okay. So see when we consider that while loop, so this is the syntax here. I'll just tell you before this that the initialization of the variable, then we can or directly you can see the command. And then in C programming, that opening and closing brace is there, but here if you see or if you consider Python, that indentation is there. So in shell programming we need to write this do and then done, and in between this do and done, whatever the statements you write, all these statements we consider these are the part of that while loop. So while, then command, then we can see the do, and these are the block of statements, statement 1, 2, likewise. The done means that is the end of your while loop. And one example I have just taken here. If you see that initially a is 0, and if that a value is less than 10, then this whatever is this block that we need to print. But here that new thing is, if you want to write any expression, then we need to write in this format. This is expr that you need to write, then put the space, then variable, then plus, and then one. Now see, here it is looking like a single quote, if you see here, but actually this is not a single quote. That key on this keypad, that is, if you see that numerical, the values like 1, 2, 3, 4. So before one, there is one key, right? So that key you can use for this, right? So don't consider this as a single quote or something. I'll just take example and we'll see what will happen if you consider single quote, and if you consider this, then what will happen, that I'll just tell you. Right? So this is the normal form of the while loop. One more form is there that I'll just tell you. You can see here, if sometimes we need that the loop need to execute the number of times or kind of infinite time till any certain condition. So here for the infinite time, or we can say if you use this colon here, so this will consider always true. Like in C programming, we write that while one, right? So here instead of that while one, here that colon is there. If you consider this colon, this always consider true. If you read here, the colon always evaluates to true, right? So this always consider it as a true, right? And this example also, I'll just tell you one example for this, for both. If you consider this first one, right? So same example I'll just take here, and here also put the space, then square bracket, then space, then that variable, that is a, and this is less than. Less than, greater than, already I just told you. Less than is lt, greater than is gt something, right? And then suppose 10, right? Do here, and you can say can print that value that is A, right? And first I'll just write as it is that statement A, this one, and expr dollar $A plus one, then this closing. Just save it and run it. Something is again okay. You see here, you can see the values have been printed from 0 to 9 because we consider that condition here. If you see here, it is A less than 10. You can see here, right? So these values have been printed. But if you see this one, if you change this to single quote, then this will not execute. You can see it is saying that error, right? So that's why you need to put here that operator this. This is similar to single quote, but this is not a single quote. You can see, right? And also, if you see here that colon, whatever is this example, or I'll just take the simple example over here, like colon, right? And I'll simply print here. Right? So that meaning is what? This will go in infinite loop. I'll just save it and execute. So if you see here, it is going in the infinite loop, right? So to exit from this, you can just press that Control C. So you'll just exit from that infinite. Getting this? Or one more way is there. Suppose you want to use that switch case concept, then here also itself you can write here, or you can read that value here. Read suppose A, right? And whatever is this, suppose here I'm using that case concept. Case whatever you value that read that A in, and suppose I'm saying S1 I, right? That you know this one. If you just suppose have that value 2, then hello, and last suppose that is a default case. Oh, bye. And close this ESAC, right? This one. So what I'm doing here, so here while and here itself I am reading that value of A, so that also we can do in this while. So if you save it and if you execute this, you can see here if I press 1, it will say hi. If you press 2, it will say hello. 1 hi, 2 hello, 2 hello, 1 hi, something. If I press suppose any other key, so it will say bye. Right? So sorry, you can see here, this is again while, the use of while. here itself you can read that value, and as per that value, this case will be, or we can say select case. So that will be executed. You can see this. This is very simple example of this while, right? So I think you might understood this while concept, right? Now just move towards the for. That for working is again same, only that syntax is somewhat different. These are the two examples I have just given over here for the while, sorry, for uh, sorry, this is a different one. They don't consider this. But here you can write for I in, and whatever the number of times you need to execute that for, that you can write here, or we can say whatever are these values would be assigned to this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these values would be assigned to that I, and whatever is that value of I, that would be printed. So output of this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or second way is also here. You can see here for I in, and instead of writing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because suppose you want to repeat this, or you want to assign the values like 1, 2,000 or 100. So we cannot use this type of concept. So simply you can use this type of concept here, so that that number of times that loop will execute, or whatever the values are there, so these value will be assigned to this variable I. Okay. So we'll check both so that you will understand here. I'll use the same file for this. Right? For I in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And we can say do and print this I, and we'll check it done. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These values have been printed. Okay? Or again, the second the way is, you can see here this way, for I in, and this is the curly brace, opening curly brace, and this is 1, and put the two dots only, then that final limit, and then closing that curly brace. Okay, so here you can see this opening curly brace, this 1 to suppose 10, I'll just consider any value you can consider, and the same resting. And just save and execute. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or the another way of just using that for is, I think we have seen that assignment here. So that assignment is to print the folders and files from the current directory. So that assignment I had given. So that same example we can consider here for I in star. Star means all, right? So here you can see this minus D, that is for the folder, and this minus F here from this side. So that is for the files. So rest things are as it is. If suppose that variable is directly, then that will be printed. If that I is directly, then that will be printed. So we'll check it out this also. For I in star, right? So it means all the files are directly that will consider from that current folder. And here, if this is minus D, right? Minus D is for the folder, and that I is the variable. Then you can print it, and you can close this, right? I'll save it. First, I'll see. You can see here. So this ABC is the folder only here. If I run this, you can see that ABC folder is being displayed. Or if you want to print all the files from that folder, already you did this one, but simply I'm just repeating. Now it will print all the files from this. You can see here. So these or this is the folder, These are the files. So ABC is a file again and folder is again. So there are two files. One is folder and one is the file. That name is ABC. So abc.sh, these are the .sh extension files, and these are the simple text files you can consider. So using these also we can display the files and folders over here. So using this star also, or the star means the all files we consider from that current directory folder, whatever you have, right? So I think for you might understood. And the last one that I'll just go with this, that is the until statement. Sorry. So the while loop is perfect for situation where you need to execute a set of commands while some condition is true, right? But sometimes you need to execute a set of commands until the condition is true. So see, you might look this the similar to your for, but I'll just tell you what is the difference over here, right? So that you will understand that difference between that for and while also, right? So this is the example. If I equals to 5, then what we do in the while, I'll just take the example of this with same. Simply, I'll just use while I equals to 5. First, I'll just take that until, right? Then simply say enter. Leave that I, done. Save and execute. You can see enter here. Suppose 1 I'm entering. It is again asking same. If I'm entering 2, again it is asking same, 3 same, 4 same. But when I say 5, right? Sorry, 1 minute. Huh? This is going in infinite loop. Because here you can see here, it'll again run this kind of 1, 2, 3 something. So it is executing. But when we say that number is 5, so it is exiting from that, right? But if you consider here, instead of this, while, oh, sorry, this is 2. That initialization is not there. So this is not working here. Or one more example, I'll just tell you here. See, if I say I equals to 0, then while I is less than 10, suppose, right? To echo, and that I just print that I. Here I equals to, this is expression expr $I, plus 1. This is done. If I run this, this will execute. We'll see this difference between while and until. I'll just tell you. You can, oh, again, that same mistake I think I did. You can see here. So 1 to 9 has been printed. So in this case, that it is working perfectly. But if I do some the modification here, right? If I see here 20, then what will happen? This will check the condition that I means 20 is not less than with this. So this will not execute. You see here that is not executing that block. Whatever is the block of that statement, it is not executing. But if I use instead of this while, suppose until, okay, then you just see what will happen. You can see it is executing. So it just entered into the infinite loop. But what I just wanted to tell you, if I'm using suppose while here, so if this condition is true, then and then this will enter into this in case of while. But if you are using suppose until, so even though this is not true, then it is executing this block. So here I have written something here. While loop execute the block of code, that is whatever is enclosed into this, when the condition is true, and keep executing that till the condition becomes false. When the condition becomes false, the while loop is terminated. This is about the while. And if you consider that until loop execute the block of code that is inside of the do and done when the condition is false, right? And keep executing that till the condition becomes true. Now, in our case, that condition is not becoming true here because this I equals to 20 and this is 10. So this condition will not becomes true. That's why it is entering into the infinite loop. So false and keep executing that till that condition becomes true. Once the condition becomes true, that loop is terminated. So I've understood this. So if I'm using suppose while here, so for the same example that while is not entering into this block, but if I'm using that until, so this will enter into this, even though this condition is not, right? So this was about the loops in shell script. If you are having any doubt till this, just ask me, right? Just I wanted to explain that the coming assignment. So before that, you can ask me if you are having any kind of queries. Okay. 1 minute. Any doubt till here? If any doubt, please ask me. Huh? If anything, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'll just start with the assignment. So see, by the time you can ask me the doubt, I'll just first tell you that assignment. If you see the last two assignments, one I just told you, just you can write or you can consider your the program, whatever program you have, not necessary to build that program. Simply you can copy and paste that program from anywhere or you can write that program. So that should be a small application you consider, right? But whatever is the last assignment, for that last assignment, you need to uh, write a program to test your the previous program. Right? So consider whatever program you just have in your hand, the output of that program is like this. Suppose serial number, the name of address, suppose salary, and we can say, mm, okay, this one you can consider, or consider the employee number, right? This is your the existing program output. So whatever program you have just used, but see, the output should be in your secondary disk. Suppose this is the serial number one of name, suppose Harish Pune. Consider 10,000, this one, and employee number is 20, right? Second, uh, when you just run your program, so there suppose by mistakenly you have entered here 1, 2, 3, 4, then this one only 10, and employees number is 70, right? So consider this is your existing output of your the program. What is expected here? Expected is the tool need to be tested this file. Sorry, serial number, name, address, salary, employee number, and here that last column is important, that is test case. Now see what is expected here. Suppose one, this is Harish Pune, this is 1,020. So see, whatever is your test program, that program need to check the serial number, whether this is the integer or what. This one, that is the name. That name should be a string. That address should be a string. Whatever is that salary should be in the floating number. This would be the, we can consider this as an integer, or if suppose that it is a combination of character and integer, that you can consider as a string. But here you just consider this as a string. And here you can see test case pass. If you consider this row, that serial number one is integer, that name of that person is the string, this address is also string, that salary is a floating value, that is employee number is a string, so that we can say that test case is passed. So this is your output, right? This one. Now second is suppose 2, and suppose enter that number instead of that string. Here also that enter the number instead of string. This is an integer, and this is suppose 70. Now when you check this column is true because this is an integer, but whatever is this field, this is integer, but that is expected is a string. So you can say this is not correct. Again, if you consider this one address, again this is an integer number, so this is not correct. Again, if you consider salary, so salary you can consider this as either float or this. If you enter the integer value, so this will consider this like this. Okay. And employee number is a integer, so you can say that test case is fail. So this is our output. Have understood this, what is expected? So what you want to do, you just write a program that using file handling, whatever is your output, that would be like this, that is stored on the secondary disk. And whatever is the testing tool, that tool will pick that file which is stored on the secondary disk, suppose this one, right? And from that file you just check the rows, this something. So you need to check this row first, then this row, and then next one like this. And whatever is your expected that output, if that expected output is not there, then you can say that test case is failed. And if you want to put that some message like that name is having some kind of the validation, or this address is again needing something, so that you can put that message also the display. But I want at least this output, test case pass and test case fail, right? So for both, you need to use that file handling. Either you can use Python or you can use file handling of C program. Right? So that's why I had told you whatever the file handling program you are considering. So that same we need to use that concept here. If you are considering that file handling program using Python, then you can proceed with Python. If you are considering that as a C file handling, so you can consider that this tool as a C file, right? So this is the expected output in your final program, right? So have you understood this? If you are having any doubt, please ask me,
Sir,
because this is your last assignment. So anything?
sir, for the output, do we have to print it like this that you have shown in the screen, like in the table format, having test case column as a